been a bit of a slow week, to be honest. Nothing major has happened. Did anything exciting happen wherever you are? No? Slow week for you too? Alright, no worries. We'll figure this out. I'm sure we'll find something to talk about. Actually, yeah, something strange did happen a couple of days ago, very close to where I live. But before I get into that, let me give you some live show updates. These are important because I have rent to pay and vices to support. Daniel Fernandes, live and socially distanced. Mumbai, November 15th. Hyderabad, November 21st. Ticket links are in the video description. These shows are COVID compliant, so we are taking all precautions necessary. There'll be face masks, socially distanced seating, sanitizer, temperature checks. Anybody with a high temperature will be shot dead on the spot. We're not taking any chances. So if you live in Mumbai or Hyderabad, get yourself a ticket. I'm very excited to get back on stage, so come see me. For those of you who live elsewhere, I'll be doing a couple of Zoom shows, I think, at the end of the month. Keep an eye on my Instagram for these updates. Okay, so the US presidential elections, as you know, are underway, and I'm slightly upset because according to Indian social media, you are not allowed to talk about it unless you can name the president of India. Yeah. I got a message a few days ago saying, you don't even know the name of the president of India. Why are you talking about US election? And to you, dear sir, I just want to say, first of all, fuck off. Secondly, fuck off again. And thirdly, even you don't know who the president of India is. I mean, to be honest, I think even Ramnath Kovind does not know who the president of India is. That's how futile that position is. Like, I'm sure his wife wakes him up in the morning and goes, Ramu, wake up. Wake up, Ramu. Huh? Why? Because you're the president of India. And then he goes back to sleep. Look, I think the reason why a lot of Indians are clued into the US election is because of the impact a US president has on world politics, and also because this is the closest we will come to watching a vile, divisive bigot get voted out of office. It's a vicarious catharsis. It is a close race though. Joe Biden is currently, I think, at 264 electoral college votes, and Trump is 214. I mean, this is at the time of me recording. And some experts are predicting that this election could end in a super over. I initially thought that Trump would win easily because America ka public chu diya hai, and by the looks of things now, it seems to be going the other way, which is not the worst thing in the world because I wanted Biden to win because I think it will create a shift in world politics for the better. So yeah, let's see what happens. Anyways, getting back to that story I was telling you. So the other day I was woken up very early in the morning, okay, by this dog that was barking, and I didn't understand what was going on at first. So I rushed to the balcony and I could see that these men were trying to drag this dog away into a van, okay, and I felt really bad for the dog, and I could tell that it was caught completely unawares by the sheer suddenness of the move, you know, the unexpected nature of the move, the unpredictability of the move, like the fact that there was no warning whatsoever. They just picked him up, tossed him in, and drove away. Yeah, weird. And in unrelated news, noted television bully Arnab Goswami was arrested by the Mumbai and Raigad police in connection to an abetment to suicide case that he was dodging for a couple of years. You guys have seen the video. I'm guessing everyone has seen the video, so I guess there's no need to watch that video again. Or is there?
You
Okay, so let's get some perspective, right? Uh, Anvay Naik was an architect and he did some work for Arnab, and Arnab, for whatever reason, did not pay him. So Anvay kept following up on this, and he begged him to pay, and he didn't. Anvay then died by suicide in May 2018 along with his mother. He left behind a suicide note where he named Arnab as one of the people who motivated him to take that extreme step. Then his wife and daughter filed an FIR against him, but the Raigad police closed the case because apparently there was no evidence. Coincidentally, the BJP was in power in Maharashtra when this happened. Now, I'm sure there's no connection there, of course, none at all. I mean, it's just a coincidence. And then, cut to 2020, the case was reopened because Anvay's daughter, Adnya Naik, reached out to the Home Minister Anil Deshmukh, and I guess he thought there was merit to the case. So, the cops arrested him, and he has now been sent to judicial custody for 14 days. I'm sorry. Am I sounding too happy as I narrate the facts of this situation? My bad. It's just that I'm a big fan of irony, and this is ironic on so many levels that if you got into an elevator in this building of irony and pressed the button for the top floor, you would never get there. You just keep going, and you would live out the rest of your life inside this elevator until you died. Okay, and then your corpse would just rot away until there was nothing left of you but bones, and it would still keep going. But then the elevator would stop because there'd be a power cut, because the electricity bill was not paid, because that's who Arnab is, a man who does not like to pay bills. Were there reactions to this arrest? Of course. Union ministers from the central government started tweeting in support of Arnab. I mean, to be fair, if my dog was in trouble, I'd say something too, But what really cracked me up was the fact that these ministers were saying stuff like this is an attack on freedom of expression and the fourth pillar, and that the Maharashtra government was misusing state power to settle political vendetta. On that note, let us get into another elevator ride in this new building of irony. This is an irony complex, okay? Like lots of parking and a statue. Then other journalists from various news channels and publications started tweeting and saying the same thing. Like this is an attack on the press and, freedom of expression, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you dumb bags of rice. Put your phones down, read up on the situation, process and understand what has happened. Arnab was not arrested for something he said on his news channel. He was arrested for allegedly abetting suicide. A concept, if I recall correctly, all of you were very clear about a couple of months ago. See, it is completely within the realms of possibility for a journalist to commit a crime. Let me give you an example. Aiding and abetting a suicide is a crime. Arnab Goswami calling himself a journalist is also a crime. You see, it's very simple. See, I'm willing to give these journalists the benefit of the doubt when they tweeted, because I think somewhere deep down inside, I guess they anticipated this would happen. Like I'm pretty sure they were thinking, ये चूते को एक दिन उठा लेंगे, एक tweet draft folder में रख लो. And to all these journalists and politicians crying attack on the press and fascism, I just want to remind you that in the last year alone, 9 journalists whose last names are not Goswami were arrested and thrown into jail for doing their jobs. You didn't tweet then. Like, have some shame. Like, thoda sa. Like, check if there's any available on Amazon and order it. But my favorite reaction of all to Arnab's arrest is this one. Karma is such a bitch, huh? Such a bitch. It's crazy, isn't it? Like just a couple of months ago, the BJP used the suicide of Sushant Singh Rajput to go after Shiv Sena through Arnab. And then Arnab went as far as challenging Uddhav Thackeray to arrest him. And then he got arrested for the exact same crime that Arnab tried to pin on Riya and the Shiv Sena. Like, if you get the time, read up on Anvay Naik's case. Okay, it is very tragic. Like, nobody should have to end their life because their dues were not paid. And I'm not sure how this will play out, but I do know one thing for a fact: Arnab is a piece of shit, and I hope he gets what's coming to him. And he'll probably be back at some point. So till then, enjoy the silence. It's funny that all these politicians and journalists and a bunch of people on social media are crying political vendetta, and they use this term when it's convenient for them. Political vendetta is a two-way street, buddy. Arnab and the BJP have been given a taste of their own medicine and they don't like it. It's very bitter. Revenge is sweet, and we all know which political party is enjoying a dish of that. And while he's in prison, I hope they keep him in solitary confinement, because, just for the safety of other prisoners, like, I may not agree with their crimes, but I will defend their right to not be within breathing distance of that man. And I guess there's a lesson here for Arnab. When you're a dog, don't challenge a tiger. And while you're in jail for whatever length of time, just remember, you started it. Goa has also been in the news for a couple of reasons. One, you may have already heard about. There's been protests happening in the state. The locals are protesting the government's decision to run a coal line through Goa for the Adani Group, for which they have given clearance to cut 59,000 trees. This deforestation will cause a lot of ecological damage in terms of loss of habitat, coal pollution. It will also hurt tourism, etc. So people are really upset. But the government is in denial. They've said that these infrastructure projects have nothing to do with coal. And of course, we should believe everything the government says. So, if you want to know more about this issue and you want to support the protest as it develops, and I think you should, I'm doing it as well wherever I can, check out the Instagram handle on your screens right now. Faye D'Souza has also done an in-depth piece on this, so head to her YouTube channel after this episode. Go check it out. You'll get all the information you need and what you can do to support this cause. The other thing about Goa that I wanted to talk to you about is this, okay? The government of Goa has granted permission for Sunburn 2020. That's right. The country with the second highest COVID infections in the world is having a music festival. A music festival. To which my response is, how much are the early bird tickets? I'm kidding. Are you nuts? Guys, what is wrong with you? Like, I think it's really funny that people are going to Goa as if there's no pandemic over there. Like, if you were in Goa right now, you'd think that only the roads have coronavirus. And Sunburn put out a statement saying that they're not doing a full capacity festival. It's just 12,000 people. That makes sense, doesn't it? Like 12,000 people. To 12,000 people flying in from different parts of the country, not getting tested, drinking copious amounts of alcohol, making heart signs. What could possibly go wrong? Dude, there are like first world countries who have facilities and infrastructure that are miles ahead of us, and they are going back into lockdown for a fraction of the cases that we have. Every other music festival on the planet has cancelled their 2020 edition, but Shailendra Singh has to show his kidas to the world. The show must go on. That's their tagline. Yes, Sunburn, why don't you go visit the hospitals in Goa where doctors and nurses have been working overtime for the past 9 months and say to them, we're sorry, but we need to party. The show must go on. Or maybe when these 12,000 people go back and some of them infect their parents with preconditions, maybe they can tell them, hey, mom and dad, we had a good run. It was nice knowing you, but the show must go on. Look, I'm not trying to be a stick in the mud, okay? I love music festivals just as much as you do. I am a music festival aficionado, okay? I am dying to party, but now is not the time. Like, I'm all up for opening up the economy and getting life back to normal, but it has to be incremental and not exponential, okay? You can't go from 0 to 12,000. Like, I don't mind going to a restaurant if the tables are sufficiently spaced out, everyone's sitting down, and if someone sneezes without covering their face, you can throw a bottle at them. But you can't do that at a music festival because everyone's a moving target. And if you're considering going for Sunburn and you're thinking, oh, it's going to be safe, I'm sure the organizers have thought this through. They are a responsible company, and they're not doing this for profits. They're doing this because they care about me and they want me to have a good time. No, do not believe that. Do not believe for 1 second that it is going to be safe, okay? Do not believe that people are going to socially distance themselves, not at a music festival. I've been to music festivals. After 5 drinks and some Glucon-D, the only thing that's socially distanced is your mind and your body. So, I hope the locals revolt. I hope Sunburn gets cancelled, if not for any other reason, but the fact that at least 10 DJs on that lineup are going to play this song.
Getting shut down, affected the business. Cancel all the meetings, time to watch Netflix. How to be a fuckboy now? Nobody wanna kisses. Yeah, studying first world problems.
Banging, bro.
Banging, bro. Problem, but I still make music cause you know I'm awesome. Yeah, people going insane. Some of them need to sanitize their brain. Don't know what the people are doing in Bombay, especially the ones who take the local trains. Now, how do we stop this? How do we make it go? What is the process? Easy, get a bunch of people with some candles. Listen now close, here comes the catchy chorus. Oh, Karuna, oh, Karuna, oh, Karuna.
Yes, I am quite the rager at music festivals, okay? If you see me at a music festival, this is exactly what I'll be doing. Okay, let's take some questions that fans have sent in. When was that first moment that you realized you are famous? I actually don't consider myself famous. I think I'm popular in a few places at best. But I do remember that moment when I realized that my life is a little different now. This was probably about like 4 or 5 years ago. I was hosting Forbes 30 under 30, and Ranveer Singh was the guest of honor. So I had to interview him on stage, and I did that. And after the interview was done, I remember I got off stage, and obviously because Ranveer was there, though, Paps were also there, and dude, Indian Paps are scary. And I remember I got off stage and I moved to the side because I could see the Paps going after Ranveer, but Ranveer followed me, tapped me on the shoulder, and then we ended up having a conversation. And he was telling me, how he's watched some of my videos and he likes my work, and we got chatting. And in that time, the Paps formed a circle around both of us and started taking pictures. And I was like, okay, this is different. Yeah. So I guess probably that was the first time I realized that, things have changed. Like, I wasn't paying attention probably earlier, but it was nice. Although, honestly, if you ask me, I think fame is very fickle. Okay. Like, I'm aware that my career is susceptible to fame. It comes with what we do. But you can't decide to be famous. Like you can decide to be good at something, and then work really hard, and if enough people like your work, then their fondness for you creates your fame. But these same people could tomorrow decide that they don't like your work, and then you're not famous anymore. So does that change who I am, or should that affect my career? Hopefully not. So I don't want to get caught up in that chase. So I just prefer to keep my head down and write jokes, and hopefully enough people like what I do. And yeah, also I think it's very hard to be famous today because of the internet. Like everybody has an opinion about everything that you do, and it's really hard to deal with that level of scrutiny. Like fame is not normal. I don't think we are socially meant to be known by that many people, and these are complete strangers from all over the world. So it can get crazy. Like fame creates social anxiety within the person who is famous, and even if good things are happening to you, it gets stressful because it's not normal. Like I think it was easier to be famous when there was no internet. Like back in the day, your fans saw your work, but there was like this distance between you and them. Like if they wanted to reach out to you, they had to write a letter, and that required education. Now all people need is a Geo SIM card and a basic grasp of consonants, and they're all pretending to be experts in your field. So yeah, it can get crazy. And of course, I'm not saying that it's all bad. Okay, it's a lot of fun too. Like it's been a really fun journey for me. Like I have no complaints. Like I love meeting fans. Like I always take the time to say hello. Whenever I bump into them at airports or wherever, and if they want a picture, I take one. I think it's very endearing, and I'm very grateful that I get to do this and that I have fans that love me. So I'm happy. I'm happy that I get to do this, and for as long as it lasts. So yeah, if you do see me in public, come up, say hello. I'd love to meet you, and yeah, we can probably take a picture or whatever. But yeah, it's nice. I'm grateful, guys. Thank you. Thank you for all of this. This is all because of you. I feel like I deserve a Miss Universe crown for that answer. Please, a bouquet and a sash, if you please. Right, do we have another one? Okay, let's see. How can I murder my ex and get away with it? Well, I don't know what videos of mine you've watched and thought, hey, I know who to ask about this murder I want to commit. But let me see if I can answer this question. I will tell you how you can murder your ex, but you decide if you can get away with it. Okay. Every murder is about two things: motive and opportunity. Motive could be anything like, okay, she cheated on you, or she took away your money, or she ate the last chicken nugget. So first you have to be extremely clear about why you are doing this. Okay, this person hurt me. She deserves to die. That was my chicken nugget. And then after the murder, people will notice that your ex is not alive, so they will start asking questions. And because she's your ex, you will be the prime suspect in the investigation. Keep that in mind, right? The next thing is opportunity. Okay, there are two ways to do this. You can either do it yourself, or you can get someone else to do it, and then figure out, like venue, date, and time, and all. And there are pros and cons to both approaches. Like if you do it yourself, you get to enjoy the satisfaction of your ex knowing that you are the one taking away their life. Okay, you want them to regret what they did to you. Like you want their last thought to be, oh my god, I shouldn't have eaten that last chicken nugget. Doing it yourself gives you maximum satisfaction, but also carries the highest risk because you are placing yourself and your DNA at the crime scene. And getting away with it becomes much harder because of technology like CCTV cameras, mobile phone triangulation, and signing that security register at the building gate. very high chances of getting caught. Plus, you also have to take responsibility of the murder weapon. Okay, so it either has to be like a gun or a knife or be your bare hands. These are the most common ones. Like purists prefer guns or knives, okay, because they elevate the tension and give you leverage and power in the situation. Like killing someone with your bare hands takes a lot of time, and if you haven't been doing cardio, you can get tired, and then you can't really take a Seat tires strategic timeout while you're trying to kill someone. So keep that in mind. I would recommend a gun. A gun is a good choice. It's quick, and if you're in a hurry, like if you have a movie to catch, very recommended. But buying a gun is not easy unless you live in a third world country like America. So you have to consider that. With a knife, you can take your time and really bring out the sadist in you. You know, like a little snip here, a little snip there. Like make sure you don't get any arteries or any major arteries rather, or the jugular vein straight away, because then they'll bleed out really fast. And you don't want that to happen. You want to take your time with this. Like a knife murder is a leisure activity, so make sure you clear your schedule for the day. The important thing though is to make sure you wear a mask and sanitize your hands. Okay, safety first. You don't want COVID and all that shit. The other option is to get someone else to do it. The pro here is that you don't have to get your hands dirty, but if you ask me, getting someone else to kill your ex comes across as a little rude and impersonal. You know, I don't think that's the best way to do it. Also, finding someone to do it can get tricky, because you then have to deal with unnecessary haggling over price, and they'll be like, क्या सर 20,000 और लगेगा, लॉकडाउन के वजह से मर्डर कर नहीं पाया, मार्केट थोड़ा स्लो है. You have to deal with all of that. And then you also have to keep in mind that you can't make payments to the hitman through Paytm and shit. Like it has to be cash and unmarked bills. The biggest risk with this option is the fact that you have to live with knowing that there's a killer out there that knows your secret, and if he gets arrested in connection with any other crime, he could confess to killing your ex. So then your only other solution is to kill the hitman as well. Here's a better idea. Download Tinder. Alright, last question. Okay, this is a long one. Okay, this guy actually wrote in like a series of questions, so I felt really bad ignoring it, so I had to take it. Here goes. During my third year of engineering, I got fed up with my studies, and then in my final year, I was trying for a job in placements or changing to my passion to learn animation. When I told I'm gonna do animation for a living to my friend, he said, "Are you gonna make Chota Beam for the rest of your life?" This one hurt me. After this incident, now 2 years later, I finished my studying and I'm doing freelancing. I find this degrading perception towards the craft in people around me. They joke about me and my craft. Did you face a similar situation at the start of your career? How to change peeps' mindset? Okay, I just want to summarize this. So you were studying engineering, and then you decided you didn't want to be an engineer, so you switched to animation. And when you told your friends that you want to do animation for a living, they started making fun of you and said, "Are you going to make Chota Beam for the rest of your life?" And since then, 2 years later, you've finished studying and now you're freelancing in animation, I guess. And you find that there's this perception towards your craft that where people are mocking you, and you're wondering if I face something similar, and you want to know how to change people's mindset. Okay, I don't think the issue here is your choice of career. I think the issue here is your choice of friends. And I think any job, no matter what, as long as it's an honest day's work, deserves respect. Also, I don't think your friends are very smart, because the animation industry is very promising if you're good at what you do. I mean, if you look at some of the biggest movies in the last 10 years in Hollywood have been animation films. So you keep doing that, buddy. And you don't have to change anyone's mindset. Like, you just have to be sure that this is something you enjoy doing. And once you have that conviction, you give it everything you got. I remember when I started doing stand up for a living, it was a very easy decision, like I knew that this was what I was meant to do. I mean, I got to a point where I realized this is what I was meant to do. And then I told my parents, I told my friends, and they were all extremely supportive. I mean, I do understand that statement comes from a place of privilege, and I can't say that everyone who decides to pursue an offbeat career gets the same support, but I believe that if somebody wants to try their hand at something, they should. Like, honestly, even if my friends and family had not been supportive, it would change nothing for me. Okay, I would still pursue my career in the exact same way, and hopefully it would still pan out the same way. Like, I knew that this is what I wanted to do once I had made up my mind about comedy, and nothing was going to stop me. I remember once I had a very difficult conversation about my career with somebody who was close to me, who wasn't getting it at that time. And I remember saying, look, I'm like a train right now. Okay, I'm running at 100 kilometers an hour. You can either get on and enjoy the ride of my journey, or you can stand on the platform and wave as I pass by. But if you stand in my way, you will get run over. So, yeah. Look, man, you get one shot at life, okay? There are no retakes, there are no second chances, there's no rewind. So, if you are convinced about something, just go for it. Like if it works out, it's amazing. If it doesn't, at least you'll know you tried. And as far as all these people are concerned who are saying all these things to you, just fuck them, dude. Like, just cut them out. Like, you have to be the bouncer of your own space. Okay, this is something I've learned over the years. You have to treat your personal life like a sacred space. You have to know who you're allowing into that space and what they are bringing into that space. Okay, don't let the wrong people in. So don't hesitate to cut people out if they are not helping you grow. Like, I don't care if they are friends or family. If somebody is not adding value to my life, or if they are bringing negative energy into my space, I cut them out, because there will be people around you whose energy will uplift you, and then there will be people around you whose energy will drain you. It's very important to know who these people are. Okay, and a lot of these naysayers are usually cowards. Okay, these are people who don't have the guts to do what you're trying to do. They don't have the convictions to follow their own passions and live life on their terms, for whatever reason. Okay, they want to play it safe, and that's fine, that's on them. But then they also try to pull other people down just because they don't have the guts to do the same thing. So if any of these taunts and jibes that have been thrown at you have changed the way you look at your career, or changed the way you feel about your craft right now, I want you to know that the performance and creative arts is a very privileged space. Okay, not a lot of people get a chance to succeed. So if you do manage to crack it, count yourself lucky. Okay, it's a long and arduous journey, but even on my worst days, I wouldn't trade my life for anything else. Dude, like, sometimes I feel so guilty, man. Like, I'm just like, how can this be my life? Like, I get up on stage, I tell jokes, I travel the world. It's ridiculous when you consider that there are other professions that demand so much more. But I took a gamble on myself, and I still keep taking a gamble on myself, and you should keep doing that too. So be your own cheerleader, back yourself to win. And the next time your friends taunt you about your career, remind them that people with no talent have to go to work. All right, on that note, I'm going to wrap up this episode. I hope you had fun. Don't forget to like, comment, and share this video on your social media. Help me get the word out. Let me know what you thought about what I discussed today. Do you think Arnab deserved to get arrested? Do you think it makes sense to have a music festival in the middle of a pandemic? And also feel free to send me more questions like these, and I'll take them up in future episodes. Don't forget, this podcast is a pay-as-you-like podcast. Every thing or every contribution from you goes back into the podcast. So basically, we've gotten to 32 episodes because of the generosity of the fans. So keep that going. Links are in the description. I'm performing in Mumbai and Hyderabad. Once again, Mumbai November 15th, Hyderabad November 21st. Ticket links again in the description. This was a lot of fun. I will see you again next week. Take care. Goodbye.